So Connie, I want to really thank you. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like it's pretty awesome that you make yourself so approachable. So I really want to thank you for that. Like it was, like honestly, since I decided to start this channel, I've reached out to a lot of freestyle artists, and you were one of the most approachable, easy, and to set this up with.
Well, it's nice.
So,
I mean, I think that the fans deserve it, and DJs deserve to hear from us. And we are on stage, and we've been performing for years. It's because of them. So yes, I am definitely going to be accessible to whoever needs to speak to me. Yeah,
I think that really makes. I think that really makes a difference in the. I once heard Chuck D from Public Enemy say, right? I heard him say that the number one key to Public Enemy's success at the beginning was their accessibility. So I've always remembered that, and so now when I speak to an artist, I always keep that in mind, and you made it so easy. So I want to thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome.
I've heard you say I heard you say that Vicente Fernandez was your first crush.
Yes, he was.
Oh,
oh yes, I was like 7 years old, and I saw a flyer at a grocery store. My grandma took my brother and I. She would like walking. It wasn't far. It was like a block away from the house. So we go to the grocery store, and this one time there were flyers right on near the cashier, and I picked one flyer up and I looked at that man, and I'm like, in Spanish, because I'm Hispanic.
Yeah.
I go, abuela, ¿quién es esta persona? And she said, oh, ese Vicente Fernández.
Oh.
Está bonito, ¿verdad? I go, oh yeah.
Wow, so
that was my first crush, yes.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how do you go from Vicente Fernandez to freestyle?
Oh, I was very fortunate to have been raised in a family that enjoyed all different kinds of music, all genres. Salsa, like Celia Cruz, Tony Bennett, what's his name? Frank Sinatra, Barbra Streisand.
Wow.
And then you had all these different, also all these, salseros also in there. So I had this major, combination of different artists that have influenced me. Not only that, but later on in life, when I was a little older, I would watch Midnight Special, and all like Tom Petty, was part of that. Mm-hmm. Joan Jett, love her. Pat Benatar, Cher. I have, all this mix, and I think that's where I get that persona when you see on stage. It's a little bit of all of that, and that's what makes me unique from everyone else.
So one of the other things that I've noticed as a performer that kind of sets you a little apart from other artists, you kept, as part of your show, you kept the the breakdance element to the freestyle show performance.
Absolutely.
And I've heard you say that's important for you.
Yes, it is.
How do you see the relationship between b-boying and hip hop to freestyle and Connie's music in particular?
Well, I have to give you a little bit different scenarios, okay? Because it was all part of, I guess, the destiny.
Okay.
If you want to call it, right? Miami was important because Funky Little Beat was released first in Miami.
Okay.
And it blew up. It was heavy rotation in all the radio stations.
Right.
So Miami's special, but then California's very special. Texas is very special. And when it comes to like finding those little nitty gritty things that made up that era, the B-boys were part of it. Those break dancers were definitely part of the music that made freestyle what it is.
Yeah.
Okay? So yeah, I am so appreciative of them. I'm so grateful for them. I'm grateful for all the lowriders, all the lowrider folks.
They love
Because
freestyle.
they would blow that funky little beat while those cars were like, all those hydraulics were going on.
Yeah, I'm originally from San Jose.
Okay.
And I remember being in elementary school, right? And I would walk to school, and I would see the lowriders. I'm talking about in the 80s, like
Right.
86, 87. I was just a little kid walking to school with his backpack, but all the lowriders would drive it. Back then, it was legal for people to sit in the back of the truck, right? But you would hear the freestyle.
Oh, the bass.
The bass on on the streets like San Jose is really big on lowriders and freestyle.
And I was constantly doing shows for them, car shows for them, performing. So that's how I knew how special they were in making Funky Little Beat what it became. A staple. Some people, some people say it's the California anthem.
Yeah.
Funky Little Beat. And I'm appreciative for them saying that. Oops, I hit the microphone. But they're part of that.
Yeah.
And so are the breakdancers. And that's why they mean so, it's very important. And I try to mention them every time that I'm interviewed because they had a lot to do.
Yeah, and you make them part of your show. And I could see there's a point in time where freestyle crossed over to the mainstream and probably lost a little bit of that. But you've always kept that as part of your show. And I notice it, right? And I think that's one of the things that sets you apart from let's say, like the Cover Girls or Expose, right? There's freestyle, but it's more crossover.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What was going on?
Well, remember that Funky Little Beat is more Miami bass.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's a big difference.
Yeah. What was going on? What was going on at the time? Like what were you listening to, or what do you remember was being played at the time when you recorded Funky Little Beat? Do you remember what was going on musically?
Musically, Miami was beginning to blow up. They had tons of studios, recording studios at the time, tons of clubs in every corner. All that has gone. It's gone away. But back in the day, yeah, that was big. I remember seeing my first artist, and my first two artists, and I was in awe because I went into a club, and I had never been in a club before. And I specifically went with my cousin to see this artist, and it was Franjoli, and the other one was Celi B. And I was in awe, and I'm like, and that's when I knew, because I had seen, on TV and all this, and that, that put that little spark in my head. But when I actually saw them and I was standing there, and I'm like, I definitely am doing this. I'm doing this. I don't know how, but I'm doing this.
And I heard you say your brother was a big part of.
He was.
A big part of.
Yeah, he encouraged me since I was a kid, and he wanted me to be one of those kids that would be singing out like Debbie Gibson. I'm like, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. I heard stories and when you're a kid, you're very innocent. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna wait until I'm a little older and I can handle myself. And that's what I did when I thought I was ready. I recorded Funky Little Beat when I was 21 years old. So. And
what was your brother's reaction at the time when all of a sudden Funky Little Beat blew up?
Oh, he was very proud, very proud. And he worked for a radio station.
Oh, okay.
He worked for a radio station in Miami, and he was thrilled. He was very thrilled about it.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a point in time where you were away from music?
Yes, of course.
Yes. And what made you come back to music?
When it's in your blood, you can't get away from it. I mean, you can get away from it for a little while, but then you get that little itch again and you have to go back.
You know, every artist has that.
If it's in you, there's no way you can, if you walk away from it, it's because of something that has just turned you off to the point where you're like, I'm done. I'm done and I'm doing something else. And that point can come when maybe you're a little older and you're just, you think you've given your all and you bow gracefully and you walk away. So people do that, and I'm sure there'll come a time when I'm going to do that. But not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
You're still having fun touring.
Oh, I sure am.
Yeah.
I'm sure am. Now more than ever.
Yeah?
Now more than ever. And I think it took that whole situation with COVID,
Yeah.
and a few of my own fans had passed away. They passed away because of COVID and some other things that were going on at the time. Those, I'm going to say 2 years or so.
Yeah, 2 years.
And I remember sitting there and saying, you know what? I appreciate what everyone does. They work hard, and then they go out to see you. They can do anything they want. They can go anywhere they want with, pay whatever ticket they want and go. But they go see you. And to me, that means the world, because they've given me the opportunity, and I'm on stage because of them. So when I go up now, I needed maybe those 2 years for me to realize I'm going to give them 110% when I'm up on that stage. And that's what I'm doing now.
I just saw probably like a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, you shared this video on your Instagram of a performance. It was like a big concert. I can't remember if it was in Texas or where it was at.
Maybe Arizona.
Yeah. And I saw like the beginning of the show and like funky little beat, and when the beat goes on and like your part of your performance is you guys stretch out your arms, the crowd just went insane. And I got like little bumps and like, oh, I want to be there. So I'm planning on being there at the Freestyle Festival tomorrow.
Great.
That's
gonna be outrageous.
Yeah, it's gonna
a lot
be
of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw that they added 2 new artists.
Yeah.
Noelle and Shannon.
Right.
So
it's going to be pretty big.
Yeah.
Pretty big.
So Funky Little Beat comes out.
Yes.
Blows up. First in Miami, California, Texas, and then I guess that.
New York too.
New York too.
Pennsylvania, those
Okay.
areas up there, Philadelphia. Yeah. And then I'm sorry. What was the question?
Oh, so the question was going to be exactly, I think, where you were going is like, what happened next after Funky Little Beat? What was the next step in
Funky Little Beat
Connie?
Blew up. I started doing all these shows, and then the company Sunnyview Records released Rock Me, and that did really well. It blew up more in California than anywhere else, but that's because it was released in California. Experience was released in the East Coast, and it did well there, but Rock Me just did awesome. And then after that, there were some legal issues that happened with Sunnyview Records, and then everything just came to a halt. And you were asking, well, what happened? Was there a time when you had to step away?
Yeah.
And that was the time.
Oh.
And I was in a contract. I couldn't do anything. I became very depressed. Very difficult for me. A few years, for a year or two. And then I snapped out of it, and I said, you know what? Then it'll come to me if it's back. It'll come around if it's meant for me, because that's the way I feel about things in life. If it's meant for you, it's going to happen. So, and that's been my testimony throughout my entire life with everything that I've done. Sometimes you push and you push. Even when I started with, wanting to record, I would go to studios, and I knocked on the door. And they're telling me, oh, you need a demo, you need this, and then give me the runaround. And then that's when my brother, he kept saying, well, there's this guy that I know, and, they're looking for an artist, and you can go audition. And I said, yeah, okay. I was going to school, college, and I wasn't really I'm like, yeah, okay. And I've been burnt, so I didn't want to deal with it. So like the second or third time he comes up to me and he says, have you called? And I said, because he gave me the number, I'm like, no, who is this person? And he goes, well, the executive producer is Henry Stone. And I'm like, okay, you didn't tell me that. Henry Stone was the executive producer of Casey and the Sunshine Band, okay? I don't know if you're familiar with him. Yeah, well, him and many. He did work with James Brown and Betty Wright and on and on. So I was impressed when I heard that, and I said, yes, I will call Monday morning. I called, set up an appointment, and that's how that whole process started.
That's so awesome. So, have you ever, like, so I know that your background is Cuban and Ecuadorian, right?
Correct. Yes.
I actually went to Ecuador to film a music video once,
Oh, wow.
like right before COVID in 2019.
They're partiers over there.
Yeah. So, and I just saw that there's a like freestyles. There's actually a small little freestyle movement in Colombia, right?
That's happening.
Yeah,
I hear.
There's
That's what I hear.
Spanish freestyle. So, like, has it ever crossed your mind to do like a Spanish freestyle song, or like, no?
No, not freestyle. I recorded reggaeton.
Oh, okay.
A whole album, and if you go online, you can pull it up. But I did reggaeton, and that was fun. Yeah, that was with a friend of mine from Monterrey, and that was a lot of fun.
From Monterey, California.
Monterey, California. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a big freestyle producer in Monterrey, Noel Saucedo. I don't know if you know
No,
him.
this was Renz Perez.
Okay. Yeah, Noel, like in the 90s, he's from Salinas, which is next door to Monterrey,
yes.
right? He produced like the Angelina and the Spanish Flies,
Angelina,
all
I
the
remember.
all the stuff for Upstairs Records.
Spanish Fly, Aki. I
Yes.
love Aki.
Yeah, he's coming tomorrow for the concert.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta hug that boy.
Yeah, he's coming to.
It's because of him that I was able to get those dancers, let me tell you. All I did was make a phone call, and he's like, I know who. And he got me the two dancers. And they are amazing. They're amazing.
The ones that are dancing
Yes.
on the video that I saw last week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's so awesome. Well, I do want to just thank you for your time for this interview. Thank you for taking the Freestyle channel, being one of the first to
Absolutely.
be
Danny,
in it.
whatever you need, you let me know.
Yeah.